Hi there, smart drivers. Talking to you today about road rage, putting in place skills, habits, and abilities that will keep you safe, not only when you get upset about what other drivers are doing, but also when other drivers do something goofy and you are in danger of getting into a crash. That's what we're talking about tonight. That's what we're going to help you out with. Getting upset at other people, their actions, and other people getting angry at you. And if you can help me find this, there was a book that I had read while I was doing my doctorate degree at university. It was called Criminal on the Road, and it was about people that had repeatedly committed crimes while driving. One person that I am talking about said in an interview that when somebody cut him off or somebody gave him the finger when he was driving, that he would chase them down in his car, he would force them off the road, he would drag them out of his car, and he would beat them up. And, so I'm saying to you that if you do get in an altercation with somebody else on the roadway, know that you don't know who you're dealing with and what level of violence that person is going to take the altercation to if you end up on the side of the road. So know that if you're driving and you get into a road rage incident, that you want to try and calm the situation as much as possible, and you want to put in place skills and tactics that are going to keep you safe, so you don't get harmed when you're driving. Social driving, me first, hurry up and go. The pressure is real of driving and hurry up and go. And ask any new driver, any beginner driver, if they feel the social pressure of hurry up and go. This peer pressure is real, and it is part of learning to drive. You have to ignore that. You have to focus on what you're doing, and you have to know that what you're doing is being a good driver, despite the fact that other drivers are honking their horns, they're giving you the finger, and they're giving you the stink eye, okay? Know that. And this is the hardest part, I believe, of learning how to drive. And this is one of the reasons my professional opinion is, this is one of the reasons why new drivers get into trouble and get into crashes on left-hand turns, because they feel the pressure from drivers behind them that they have to hurry up and go. So know that you're going to be in real danger on left-hand turns. What are you up against in the driving task? There are 6 combinations of conditions which you're dealing with, the different drivers on the roadway, the different vehicles, light cars and trucks, e-scooters is the new road user group, bicycles, motorcycle riders, snowmobile riders. The road can change from a residential 2-lane road, multi-lane urban city roads, going out onto a motorway, a freeway, those types of things. So the type of road that you're on can change very quickly. Light, morning, sunset, sunrise, daytime, bright sunlight, nighttime, and then weather, of course, sunlight, cloudy conditions, rain, snow, fog, all those different types of conditions. So these are the different types of conditions that you're dealing with when you're driving. All right, I put up a poll some years ago on the community tab and asked people what really makes them angry when they're driving, and it would seem that tailgaters are the #1 reason that other people get excited about driving. And I would first and foremost say that if you're looking in the rear view mirror that much and other people are tailgating and you think they're tailgating you, you're probably spending too much time looking in the rear view mirror. And again, this comes back to focusing on what you're doing. If people are tailgating you behind, then you need to increase the distance in front of your vehicle. All right, tailgaters. And there is merit for this, because the #1 crash in North America for drivers is rear-ending vehicles in front, which means that they're following too close and they're failing to observe differences in speed between their vehicle and other traffic on the roadway. Minor acts of aggression when driving. Honking the horn, hand gestures, flashing your lights, yelling, and idle threats are all types of minor forms of aggression when you're driving. And I had one of these when I was driving in Spain. I kind of zoned out a little bit and I was sitting in the left-hand lane. And I will tell you one thing about driving in Europe. You do not sit in the left-hand lane when you're driving in Europe, okay? And the person went by me on the inside lane and they were giving me the stink eye as they were going past me on the inside lane. All right, major forms of aggression: using the vehicle as a weapon, crashing into you, trying to force you off the roadway, following you, brake checking you at high speeds. And if you don't know what brake checking is, it's when somebody pulls in front of you and then they hit the brakes and they slow down really quickly, and you better hope on a wing and a prayer that you can get your vehicle stopped in time, that you're going to react fast enough so you do not rear end the vehicle in front of you. And the reason that people brake check you is because they think they're safe and they think that they're not going to get injured in the event of a crash. And finally, if there is a crash, they will not be blamed for it. It doesn't matter what you say in court that the person behind you was at fault because they drove into you. Now, brake checking, if this goes to court, this will not stand up in court. So know that they can pull information off the computer in your car and they can figure out whether you applied the brakes prior to the crash that happened and ensued. So know that. And then, of course, major types of driving aggression are physical violence. Do not engage. If you are experiencing a road rage incident and you want to keep yourself safe, people can only stay angry for a couple of minutes. So do not engage with the other person. Simply roll up your windows, lock your doors. Do not take pictures of them. Do not make phone calls to 911. Do not talk to them. Simply stare straight forward. Keep both hands on the steering wheel. As I said, they can only stay angry for a couple of minutes when they're upset and taking out on you, yelling about whatever you did or whatever they thought you did when you were driving. Okay, do not roll down the windows. Do not unlock the doors when they come up to your vehicle. Simply straightforward. And if they insist on following you, then simply go to a public place. Stop in a public place. Do not go to a police station or those types of things, especially if you're in a rural area. Because if it's a small village or those types of things, there's probably no staff in the building where the police station is. So don't go there if you're in a smaller place and those types of things. Let them have their crash somewhere else. The person that cut you off may not even know that they cut you off, okay? Are you a safety for all driver? And I can tell you a story about that with an acquaintance of mine after the presentation here. Pay attention to your own driver. And as I said before, you don't know who is in the other vehicle. And I'll tell you another story about a friend, not a friend of mine, but a person that I worked with when I was living in Australia who came into work one day with a black eye. And I was teasing about why he had a black eye. But then I figured out what had happened. And like I said, you don't know who is in the other vehicle. So good luck on your driver's test. And remember, pick the best answer, not necessarily the right answer. If you have any questions about passing a driver's test, becoming a safer, smarter driver, or starting a career as a truck or bus driver, we can help you with all of that. 3 things we do on this channel, which YouTube does not like, and that's why they don't promote us, whereas they promote other channels that are talking about one thing, being car enthusiasts and having an opinion. He was on a channel this morning. He's a car enthusiast, owns a Mustang, owns a Corvette, has an opinion about traffic safety, has an opinion about driving, but not very much based in actual sound or supported researched advice. That's my little pet peeve for the day. James, good evening. How are you? Elevator fan, I almost got run off the road by an aggressive driver in a construction zone, and unfortunately that will happen where drivers are not patient in construction zones. And some years ago I trained as a flagger, and we had a practice session out on the roadways, and there were people who were driving through the construction zone, like completely ignoring the flagger and driving through. And we can talk more about that. We did talk about some of that this morning with construction zones, being patient, being calm, because we are coming into the 100 deadliest days, not just for new drivers, of June, July, August, and early September. Those are the months for the highest number of crashes during the year. So we can talk more about that after the presentation and give you some strategies and habits to keep yourself safe when moving through construction zones and temporary work areas. And yes, in most places in the United States, most places in Canada, those construction zones, if you are speeding in construction zones, they have double the fines when workers are present. So you have to pay attention to all of that when you're moving through construction zones, because we are coming into construction season. It's already started. And we can talk more about zipper merges and why zipper merges don't work. There's another unpopular an opinion amongst drivers and people because they believe with conviction that zipper merging in fact does work, and it does not work. Okay, there's no evidence to support that it does work. However, politicians, bureaucrats, and other interested individuals continue to market, put forward that the zipper merging in fact does work, but I will tell you why it doesn't work and what strategies you can put in place to keep yourself safe so that you don't zipper merge. Okay, Jean, roads in the US are crazy. And why do we say that, Jean? Why do you think roads in the US are crazy? Colton, YouTube makes things difficult for law-abiding gun owners to upload content at all, yet they let blatant stupidity regarding gun safety get shown to everyone for no reason at all. What gives? Colton, don't know. I don't know. My personal opinion, Colton, and this is completely off topic to what we're talking about in terms of aggression, driving aggression, and road rage, gun ownership, a lot of other things. Unfortunately, the pendulum on the YouTube algorithm has swung too far to catering and pandering to what people want and what people want to watch. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of credibility in what some people put out, especially in my area of expertise with traffic safety. I can't speak to gun ownership and gun safety, but in my area, it's basically what people will watch, and people will watch a lot of stuff that is not true, and it is not supported by research and statistics and facts, and that is the unfortunate part of traffic safety. And so you don't get promoted on YouTube unless you are bringing in the watch time. Which is problematic, and I think that the YouTube algorithm needs to be revisited. So I digress. We'll get back on topic here in terms of road rage, aggression, and I've had my share of road rage incidents over the years. I can't say that I have been calm awareness the whole time that I've been driving, because I have been emotional. I've got upset at what other people are doing. Somebody stole my parking space once. In a library parking lot, and I was under stress. My wife was pregnant at the time. We were moving. We'd bought a new house, lots of things going on, and somebody took my parking space at the library, and I got out of the car, and I'm standing there in the parking lot yelling at this person, telling him that they stole my parking space. So aggression is real, and it's not just going to be other people getting angry with you. It's also you going to be getting angry with other people, and we need to know that we're emotional, and things are going to happen when we're driving, and other people are going to be aggressive. Starry, thank you for these tips. As a new driver, this is helpful. Yes, and one of the most important things, Starry, for new drivers is to understand that peer pressure when driving is real. Social driving is other people policing. Social driving is drivers policing other drivers, even if there aren't any police around or other people. And the main road going into my suburb is closed currently. And a few weeks back, I went through the roundabout, and there's a no left turn to come up the hill. And I just thought, okay, I can just whip around the corner and go up where the no left turn is. Well, of course, there was a car coming, so I had to stop. And I was turning left. I was signaling to turn left. And of course, the car behind me laid on the horn because they're policing what I'm doing, that you're not supposed to do that because there's a no left turn sign there, which everybody does it because the main road is currently closed into our suburb, and it's easier to go up that way. So other drivers are always policing what you're doing. We're policing other drivers all the time. If we believe that the other driver is doing something inexperienced, or the other driver is going too slow, then we're like, what are you doing? And we're cussing and cursing, but we carry on with our lives, and it's usually nothing more than that. However, as I said in the presentation, some years ago when I was going to university, I was working part-time in the butcher shop on the weekends to make a bit of cash, which helped out, obviously. And one of the butchers that worked there, him and I had a really good relationship. We joked around all the time, and work was a lot of fun. He comes into work, and he's got a big black eye. And of course, I'm teasing him that his girlfriend was, he didn't do what his girlfriend wanted him to do, and that she put him in line and those types of things. And finally, at the end of the shift, I got He finally told me what happened. He was in a road rage incident. The other car pulled over to the side of the road. He pulled in behind him. He was going to get out, and he was going to tune him up. Of course, he was my size, except, probably 240, 250 pounds, really stocky guy. And the other person, a 50-year-old bricklayer, just got out of the car and just punched him in the face. No warning, no words, no I'm going to take you out, those kinds of things. And the other person just, so as I said, you don't know who is in the other vehicle when you get into a road rage incident. And as I was saying to you before, most of my road rage incidents have been on my bicycle. I don't know what it is about drivers. They just don't. There's a real war between car drivers and bicycles. And I have had a lot of times where, for whatever reason, car drivers will nose into the bicycle lane. They will not give you enough space. They won't give you that minimum 3 meters, that 3 feet, 1 meter of space between you and their car. They will cut you off too slow. And I had a guy, we were in Melbourne, and we were in, I'm trying to think of the name of the suburb. But anyway, went through the intersection. There was a tram in the middle of the road, and there wasn't enough room for a car to go between me and the tram. But this guy in a ute decided that he was going to go between me, my bicycle, me riding my bicycle in the tram. And the guy driving the ute was so close to me that I literally went like this, and I hit the side of his car with my fist. And of course, I could see him coming. He just like pulled over, and he's going to tune me up. So, I had lots of time. I stopped the bicycle. I picked it up, put it, leaned it against the light standard. I waited for him to come back. And of course, he's standing on the road beaking off, telling me that I shouldn't have hit his car, blah, blah, blah. And I'm going to pound you out if, you did hit my car. And I said, yes, I did hit your car because you were too close to me. And he's threatening me physical violence. And I'm thinking to myself, because as many of you know, I studied jiu-jitsu, I studied karate for a lot of times. And so, the curb's this high. So I'm standing up 5 inches higher than him, and he's threatening me. And I was sort of looking at him thinking, and the only thing I'm thinking in my head, because I'm not really taking him seriously, because I know he's of no threat to me. And I'm thinking, okay, if you're really going to hit me, you're either going to have to back up and get some space so you can get a little bit of leverage on hitting me, or you're going to have to get up on the curb so that you're at the same height that I am. And, so what I was saying before is if there's no feedback, there's no input into a person's anger, they will only stay angry for a couple of minutes. So he got there, blew off his steam, and then, walked back and got back in his car, and away he went off with his life, right? He didn't, because I didn't say anything. He just stood there and yelled at me, and I was just like, oh yeah, okay, whatever. So that's what happened. Mallory, during the summertime down here, we have motorcycles, bicycles, and people on four-wheelers, and are all driving around the community here. Yes, they are. And that is one of the things, as Mallory just said, different seasons are going to bring out different road users. Four-wheelers, bicycles, motorcycle riders, and then again in the wintertime, you're going to have snowmobile riders. So also as well, Mallory, the new road user that we have here in Vernon and other places are e-scooters, especially on the sidewalk and on the footpaths. And these things are going crazy fast, 25 miles an hour, 40 kilometers an hour up and down the sidewalk with these goofy e-scooters. And last week I was walking the dog. I went down to the veterinarian, and then I was walking down to meet my kids after school. And we're walking along the sidewalk, and one of these, there's a bicycle on the sidewalk. You had to dodge the bicycle, and then the e-scooter comes up, dodging the e-scooter. It's like an obstacle course trying to walk on the sidewalk with your dog and those types of things. So, many different kinds of road users out there now. And so you have to watch out with your aggression and those types of things. Colton, some aggressive drivers pull a gun as an intimidation tactic here in the U.S. I'm so firearms expert, but I know how to be responsible one because I was taught by responsible people. And yes, and this is the other thing, but Colton is talking about in terms of aggressive people. As I said, and Colton's point exactly, you don't know. I have seen dash cam footage and a lot of these incidents, from security footage and those types of things. And I don't trust social media anymore, so I don't know if they're real. And I would certainly say to you that they need to be verified before you start putting them out there as fact. Two pickup truck drivers, the one pickup truck driver cuts off the other pickup truck driver, and the guy comes out with a baseball bat, and the other guy just takes a gun out and just shoots him. Is it staged? I don't know. Maybe it is, because, I don't know whether somebody would do that or not. But in the United States of America, I would not say that is not true. I mean, it is a possibility. But again, I come back to, if you get involved in a road rage incident, you don't know who you're dealing with on the other end of that altercation, right? And you may end up being shot. I did meet a person years ago that I was talking to that they'd been shot in Detroit, driving around Detroit. They had been shot. So know that, you know, gun safety, not gun safety, rather, driving safety, road rage habits and skills that are going to keep you safe. You don't know what that other person is going to come out of the vehicle with. You don't know whether that person has a weapon, as a tire iron, a baseball bat, or a gun. So stay with your windows rolled up, looking forward. Do not take pictures. Do not make phone calls. Do not engage with them, and they will have their little incident, and then they will take off, right? I mean, what's the big deal? You know, if they get out and they start banging on your windshield, right? They break your windshield. Big deal. Go and get it fixed. The little property damage is better than you being injured or hurt, because you can fix your car. You can't necessarily fix yourself, you know, if you get a baseball bat to the head or you get shot or those types of things. Salman, hello, my friend. Thank you for your kind words. Colton, I never understood electric scooters, and I never will. Colton, they go like heck. They go like stink. And they're popular. They're popular here, and there's stacks of them all over town, and probably all over North America, in all the large urban cities and villages and towns and whatnot, where you can rent these things. You can just stick your debit card in, stick your credit card on them, and you can rent time on these things. And, you know, because people don't like walking, and, you know, they get on an electric scooter and be there in half the time. And, you know, electric bicycles, the same thing. People do not want to pedal up hills, and they go and buy themselves an electric bicycle. Not something that you could ever pedal anyway if the electricity fails on it, because I think they weigh about 3 or 4 times what a normal bicycle weighs. So there's the other question about it. Now, the other aggressive maneuver that, according to this video that I was watching this morning, which I can't say that I have ever experienced, so if you have experienced it as a smart driver, they were saying that they use the windshield washer sprayer as a sign of aggression, that people are sitting at the lights, you're sitting behind them, and then they keep pushing the sprayer because it goes up over the hood and onto the car behind them, especially, I don't know, a sports car or something like that. I'm going to have to watch the video again, because it was completely unsubstantiated. There was no basis for anything that this person was saying. It was like, okay, really, that's not true at all. And I can't say, maybe you've had this experience where you think that other people in front of you are being aggressive and they're continually spraying their windshield so that it sprays back onto your windshield and those types of things. The other thing that he was saying in this video is that because sports cars are so low, if a person driving a sports car is behind an SUV, that it actually appears that the sports car is closer to the SUV than it actually would be, which I thought was bunk, because if you're not tailgating the SUV from behind, you should be able to see all of the sports car looking in the mirror of your SUV behind you. If it's too close, then you're only going to see the roof of the sports car, right? It should be farther back. So I don't know. There was just a lot of postulation and pandering and positioning in this video, and there wasn't any actual fact. Information that was presented that was not information was the zipper merge, and I was going to talk to you about that more so. The reason that the zipper merge doesn't work is if you look at all the models, the animated models of the zipper merge on YouTube and other places where all of this exists, it's just cars. Okay, it's completely homogeneous traffic, which means it's all the same. It's all cars. There's no motorcycles. There's no cargo vans. There's no pickup trucks pulling trailers. There's no semi-trucks. There's no buses, right? In this traffic that they're using as an animation to show that the zipper merge works. In combination with that, zipper merging, I'm nice, but I'm not going to let more than one car in nice. So as long as you have homogeneous traffic of all cars, and you got one car moving in front and another car moving in front and one car moving in front and one car moving in front, that's fine, because we're nice people and I'll let one person in. I'm one person in nice. But when you got a semi-truck and you got 4 or 5 cars beside that semi-truck, is the semi-truck going to slow down so 4 or 5 cars can move in front of it? Or is the car behind the semi-truck going to drop back so that 4 or 5 cars can get in front of it. Not on your life. Not in your life. And as soon as you have that happen and you have semi-trucks and buses and larger vehicles in the mix of traffic, this is when the whole zipper merge breaks down. In addition to that, the most important component of being a safer, smarter driver is keeping space in front of your vehicle. That 3 to 4 seconds in front of your vehicle. If you allow yourself to get right to the choke point of the merge, right to the bottleneck, what you've just done is given up all your space. You now no longer have an out. You're now trusting, hoping on a wing and a prayer that that person beside you is going to let you in because you don't have any other out, right? There's 2 ways out of an emergency situation: braking, steering. But in order to get out of an emergency situation safely by steering is you need some place to drive into. And if you're at the choke point and then there's another lane of traffic beside you, there's no place to go. You are relying on these people over here, the I'm nice, but I'm not let more than one person in nice people to let you in. And the last piece of the zipper merge that doesn't work is that everybody does it or nobody does it, because it only takes one person to mess up the zipper merge. So therefore, it's never going to work because not everybody is doing it. Okay? It only takes one person to mess it up. It has to be everybody. And it's the same idea as everybody stays back 1 vehicle length at the traffic light, the whole pack of vehicles can move off together. It's the same thing as the zipper merge. That will never happen. It's some sort of ideal utopic world that is never going to happen. And then, in addition to that, people think that merging out onto the highway or freeway is, again, a type of zipper merge. And it's really not. It's the onus of merging safely onto the highway or freeway is up to the merging driver. So don't think that people are going to zipper merge and people are going to let you out onto the roadway. Jackson, so far having an average A in my driving grade with 3 months to go before the driving test unofficially. Awesome. And Jackson, where in the world are you working on your driving test skills and abilities, my friend? Reverse parking, parallel parking is not great, but second attempt left for wheel just barely made it. Awesome. And just keep working on that, Jackson, and that will make you a better, safer driver overall, those slow speed maneuvers. All right, elevator fan, you're back. Rawson, is driving a pickup truck a challenge because of parking, turning radius, and the braking? Rawson, yes, it can be a transition to a pickup truck for sure. Of course, they have a different distribution of weight in a pickup truck. They do not turn as sharp, and they are bigger for sure, way bigger. Especially if you get a full-size pickup truck, they are definitely bigger. So definitely, it's going to have to take a bit of learning. And Corey will put up the video on how to drive an SUV, and I probably should do that with a pickup truck on how to drive a pickup truck as well, because they are definitely bigger, and there is a transition to knowing where that vehicle is in space and place when you're driving. Jackson says parallel parking is perfect. That's awesome. Your reverse stall parking, backing into a parking space, needs some work. Awesome. Colton, a scooter with a gasoline engine, I get an electric motor. That's a recipe for a fire that can't be put out quickly and in a safe manner. Yes. Unfortunately, there is some bad publicity that's going around on social media against Teslas and Tesla fires and catching on fire and battery fires and those types of things. So that is not good. Corey says, I also notice in the zipper merge theory videos and GIFs, it starts with a car in one lane with proper spacing. A car merges and that space is just gone while everyone else is going the same speed, half the speed. Yes. And that's what happens, Corey. It's just not something that works. And even if you look at forums with truck drivers and my experience of truck driving, if you got into a long line of cars and the choke point was quite a ways up and there were 2 trucks beside each other, and I have done this with other trucks where you just put it into second gear, 5th gear, and you just idle along beside the other big truck and you hold all the cars back. Because the cars behind you, like as I've said before, in terms of road rage, you have no idea the abilities and skills. There is a wide spectrum of abilities and skills with the drivers on the roadway. Some know how to do it, some don't know how to do it, and then you just end up in this mix of blah, blah. on the roadway. And so the two trucks just run along like this, and now the traffic keeps moving, and then they get to the choke point. The one truck holds back, and the other truck moves in front of them, and away you go through the construction zone. And it actually works out faster when you do that, as opposed to trying to stay back there and everybody merging over to the left and those crazy things. Corey, that's just not how that works. People still slow down a bit to recreate that space. Yes, they do. So move over as soon as you can. Keep that space in front. Have your defensive posturing. As I've said, space in front. That's the only place around your vehicle that you can control space all the time. And you need to be able to brake. And put up the short there from last week. Again, it protects you from rear-ending the vehicle in front if you get distracted, because we talked about distracted driving. It's not a matter of if you're going to get distracted. It's a matter of when you are going to get distracted. And you want these habits, skills, and abilities in place so when it does happen, you're going to be safe and you're not going to rear-end the vehicle in front of you. And going back to the ideas of road rage, keeping your distance from other vehicles is also going to reduce the chances of being involved in a road rage incident. And this is probably why I haven't been involved in a road rage incident in some time, is due to the fact that no matter what, I always have that 3 to 4 second following distance in front of my vehicle. And no matter what, I always stop one vehicle length back from the vehicle in front. I do not ever give up that space. Okay, I rarely give up that space in front of my vehicle, because it's what protects me, that minimum safe distance from my vehicle and other traffic on the roadway. And Corey's put up the video on how to drive a sport utility vehicle. Similar exercises, similar space ideas, space in place, turning radiuses to large pickup trucks and those types of things. And as I said, I'm going to need to get a pickup truck and do those for you to show you how to do that. Ross, and I say to myself, it's always best to learn how to drive a pickup truck after you get your license. Ross, and yes, it is. Any larger vehicle is going to be good skills and abilities for you to learn when you're driving. Elevator fan, if you break down on railway tracks, don't worry about your belongings. Absolutely, get out of the vehicle. And years and years and years ago, when I was a youngin' and I just got my license, I had a 75 Honda Civic. Was it a Civic? Yeah, it was a 75 Honda Civic, brown, ugly thing. And we were in Niagara Falls, and it was raining, and we got on the railway tracks, and the car spun out. It wouldn't go across the railway tracks, and, you know, a few of my friends in the car, and we get out and we push the car across the railway tracks. But, you know, it does happen every now and again that your vehicle will break down on railway crossings and those types of things. And also know that, you know, if you broke down somewhere, put your four-way flashers on to indicate to other traffic that you are broken down and whatnot, so that you let other people in on what's going on. Now, going back to this video again and talking about road rage, one of the ideas was that he had read on a forum, not even, you know, substantiated in an academic journal or all of the other research institutes around about psychology and driving and whatnot, that people don't signal or refuse to signal because it's passive aggressive driving. So it's an active road rage when people don't signal, because I don't have to signal, because I'm not going to tell you, because I'm gonna passive aggressively tell you that I don't like you by not signaling. And when I heard that, it was very similar to the theory that cars on the highway run in clusters and run in packs because we're descended from mammals, and mammals are herd animals, and this is why we drive in clusters on the highway. I shook my head when I first heard that theory, and I've thought about it and ruminated about it for some years now, and it is not any more true than it was at the time. People simply drive in clusters and drive too close to other traffic because they have never been trained properly. That's what I believe. I believe that people have never been trained properly. They believe that they're safe. We have cars, newer model cars with power steering, power brakes, airbags, all kinds of safety features on them. They are quieter, better tires. We are becoming more and more and more divorced from the driving task. And the example of that is Tracy drives a 2014 Audi S4. You get in that and you do 140 kilometers an hour, 80 miles an hour, and you think, oh yeah, whatever. And the car's like, oh, whatever. You know, and the engine's running out at 1800 RPM. You get in the buggy, my 1998 Honda CR-V, which has 125 horsepower and a 4-cylinder engine in it, and you do 140 kilometers an hour. You do 80 miles an hour in that, and you know you're doing 80 miles an hour because it's noisy, right? And the engine is really working to go that fast. So I am very in tune with what is going on with my car, and I know that it is going 140 kilometers an hour. So drivers are becoming more and more and more divorced from the feel of driving when they're in their cars. And not only that, we've also shown the rebound effect, which is, you know, we put better brakes on these vehicles. We make safer cars. They have air brakes and more safety features that people are going to compromise space. They're going to follow too close and they're going to speed and those types of things. All of this happens when they're driving. It's a similar phenomena to when people put all kinds of new windows in their house and they put new insulation. And before that, they were running the thermostat at 18 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about 58 degrees, or they were running the thermostat at 18 degrees Celsius, which is 58 degrees Fahrenheit. Well, after they do all of the upgrades for better insulation and windows and those types of things, then they run the thermostat at 70 degrees Fahrenheit and they run it at, you know, 65 or 23 degrees Celsius. So they negate any savings because they have the rebound effect. So they upgrade their house, but then they turn the thermostat up higher and it completely negates any savings. It's the rebound effect. Mallory says there seems to be social drivers everywhere, and yes, there are, Mallory, as we know. People are social driving. It's the way that they drive after they get their license. They don't shoulder check, they fail to signal, they speed, they follow too close. These are all characteristics of social driving, and maybe this is the reason that Smart Drive Test isn't doing really well, because people do not like being told that they are not a good driver, okay? This is the other problem with social driving is that I'm a good driver. It's always the other person on the roadway is doing something wrong. It's always the other person on the roadway that needs to upgrade their abilities when driving. And maybe that's, you know, I'm too in your face. I'm too saying we need to upgrade our skills. We need to have better driver education to make people better drivers. But unfortunately, then there's the sarcastic side of me, the, you know, pessimistic side, which is like, people don't care. People don't want to know. People think that they are good drivers, and it's everybody else on the roadway that needs to be needs upgrading and training to be safer, smarter drivers. So, road rage, right? Keeping that space minimum safe between your vehicle and other vehicles and road users. So, 3 to 4 second following distance, using the gas pedal to control space in front of your vehicle, stopping back 1 vehicle length from the vehicle in front of you, and 3 feet 1 meter from vulnerable road users, pedestrians and cyclists and those types of things. And that space in front of you will prevent you from rear-ending the vehicle in front, and in addition, prevent road rage incidents. Jackson, your driving test is at West Columbia. West Columbia, which state is West Columbia in, Jackson? Not familiar with that. Okay, so road rage incidents, and I've had, as I said, I've had my share of road rage incidents, and the other piece about it is that if you encounter a road rage incident, I had one some years ago with the kids. I was working in Kamloops, which is about 90 minutes away. I was picking the kids up. They were with their grandmother, and I got lost. There is a exit from number 6 highway onto the Trans-Canada Highway in Kamloops, and if you miss it, you end up going west on the Trans-Canada as opposed to east. And, you know, for me to come back to Vernon, I need to go east. And this exit has got me about 4 times where I've missed it and I end up going west and have to go up the hill and turn around and come back. And of course, this is the one time I'm in a hurry. I'm already late to pick up my kids. And so now I'm frustrated and I'm late and I'm hurtling back towards Vernon and picking my kids up. And it was Halloween. And they were with their grandmother, and I was, I don't know, 15 or 20 minutes late. And I get into the parking lot, and I saw them over on that side, on the right side, and they were underneath the canopy because it was raining. And So I come in the parking lot, I'm going to zoom around, and there's a van in the middle of the parking lot. It's just sitting there. And I waited a couple of seconds, and then I started honking the horn. And of course, the driver of the van gets out, comes over, opens my door on my car, and I got my hands on the steering wheel. He puts his hand on my wrist like this. And I just looked up at him and very quietly said to him, I said, "You need to take your hand off my wrist. You need to take your hand off my wrist." And kind of thought about it for a second. He backed up, he slams the door, he said something bad about my mother and walked back to his van and then moved his van. I'm not sure why he was in the middle of the parking lot, but you know, it didn't go anywhere. The road rage incident didn't escalate. So that's what happened. And so, as I said, if you don't have any input, you don't get upset, then it's not likely that the other person is going to escalate the situation much more than that. Colton, a dually long bed crew cab pickup truck is as difficult as it gets without driving a bus or semi truck. A dually crew cab truck with a centimeter bed is difficult, but is more difficult. Yes, and Colton, you're absolutely right about that. Some years ago when I was working in Australia, I was driving buses, 14.5 meter buses, which I think is 38 feet, 40 feet. And they were more difficult than they were to drive a tractor trailer because it's a straight unit, right? There's no articulation point. Whereas in a tractor trailer, there's an articulation point. And I talked to other truck drivers who drove Super Bs who had 2 trailers. And so they've got 2 articulation points and they go around corners and those types of things. It's similar to the Australian truckies who drive road trains in the desert. There's articulation points between the trailers and the trucks and whatnot. So they would get in and do driver training, and they would drive just a semi-trailer and a truck with just one trailer, and there wasn't 2 articulation points, and they'd always be pulling the trailer up on the curb because it's harder to drive. Same thing with the buses. They were harder to drive because there wasn't any articulation point. So you're right about that. Mallory, just wondering if you could make a video on traveling the ferries between the island and the mainland, please and thank you. And yes, Mallory, I can do that for you because I need to go back to the island and do some work on my rental property, so I can do that for sure, and I will put that on the list for you, my friend. Send me a reminder if I don't get it done in the next week or so, but I'll definitely do that for you. Colton, and yet people mess with that time. Okay, is it safer to miss your exit and take the next one? Yes, elevator fan, absolutely. Do not back up. Do not do crazy lane changes, those types of things. And you can see the video that I put up a couple of weeks ago on crash analysis where people were trying to get off on their exit and they end up sideswiping a tractor trailer on the highway. Yeah, please don't do that. Yes, definitely go to the next exit if you miss your exit. Road rage incidents. As I said, I've had most of the road rage incidents on my bicycle. There is a very big war between car drivers and bicycles. I have been run over, I have been doored, and I have been run into on my bicycle. And as well, I've had people throw things at me while I'm riding my bicycle down the road. Mostly at night when people are drunk and those types of things. They'll tend to throw drinks at you and those types of things. So I do ask, as a pedestrian, somebody who does a lot of walking and somebody who rides their bicycle on a regular basis, to give us lots of space. Please, slow down. Do not crowd us and those types of things. Okay, thanks, Jackson, South Carolina. Roma, it is also sometimes safer to make a couple of right turns instead of a left turn. And Roma, you were absolutely correct about that. And coming back to U-turns, I know that U-turns are part of the driving culture in many places in the United States, and people think that they are safe. They are not safe. And if you can find alternatives to making a U-turn, you are going to significantly reduce your chances of being involved in a crash. All right, so going down the road, turning around in a parking lot, coming back out, going around the block, making 3 right turns, that too is going to keep you safer. I know that it's easier to just nip around at an intersection and those types of things. The other piece about making U-turns is oftentimes when people get over onto the other lane, they're going too fast, the car doesn't turn sharp enough, and then they have to back up, and then it becomes a 3-point turn, and other traffic hopefully will stop for you so that you can get around and get going in the other direction. Mallory meant coming from the island back to the mainland. Yes, I can absolutely do that for you, my friend. Colton, South Carolina is a state I'd love to go to eventually. I've never been there, but I hear it is beautiful. Yes, the Palmetto State, that's its nickname, is very, very nice. It's a great state. Definitely been there. And if you get to go there, then go to Georgia, go to Florida. All great states. North Carolina, the Tar and Heel State. Yes, very nice. So road rage, that's what we're talking about tonight. Again, maintaining that space in front of your vehicle, that 3 to 4 second following distance, stopping at traffic 1 vehicle length back is going to reduce incidents of road rage. And the horn is seen as a sign of aggression. So if you do need to use the horn, you do need to give somebody a little toot because they're sitting at the traffic light looking at their phone or those types of things and they're distracted. They don't go when the light turns green. Little toot on the horn, because if somebody cuts you off or you think that they did something that was completely wrong or inexperienced, and you lay on that horn and hold it down. The backup camera is very helpful. Rawson, yes, backup cameras are incredibly helpful, but they're not the only tool that you have when you're backing up. Make sure that you use all your other tools, 360-degree scan, looking in the, using your side mirrors, those types of things. Make sure that you use all of that when you're reversing to keep yourself safe. Backup cameras, road rage, yep, okay. So road rage incidents, just a reminder of what's going on with road rage incidents, okay? Stay calm, okay? Do not get engaged in an altercation with the other person. Do not give feedback into what they're doing and what's going on. So know that when you're driving, okay, leave your windows rolled up, lock your doors, do not take pictures of the person, drive to an area with public access people, those types of things, and do not get out of the vehicle, do not unlock the doors because you don't know who you're dealing with. You don't know what's going to happen, whether they're going to come out with a weapon of some sort, okay? Most of the time, simply what's going to happen, even if it does escalate to violence and whatnot, they're going to break your windshield. They're going to rip a mirror off of those types of things. Remember, cars can be fixed. People can't. Okay? Know that when you're driving. So if it can be limited to property damage, that's fine. Keep calm. Okay? Do not engage with other people. All right? So we'll leave it there for tonight. You had a driver's test in the last week or so. Good luck on, or congratulations on passing your driver's test. If you have a test coming up in the next week or so, good luck on that. And remember, pick the best answer, not necessarily the right answer. Have a great night. Bye now.